Who started Tesla? That is what's going around on Twitter at the moment. It's an argument that crops up quite a lot. So today we're going to look at the facts and deep dives on some of the history and see actually who started Tesla. So let's jump into this. Guys, if you could do me a massive favor, smash the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell, all those good things, drop a comment, say hello, and yeah, let's just jump straight into this. So this argument has made its rounds a few times recently, but last night it cropped back up again on Elon Musk's Twitter, and it's open to discussion. A lot of people have their own opinions on it. I have quite a strong opinion on it myself, one that I don't think many people will agree with. But I try and base everything that I think on opinion. So that's what I'm going to run through today. Where did I form my opinion? So I formed my opinion through reading the Elon Musk autobiography. Now, hold up. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Elon Musk autobiography, that's one-sided. If you actually read the Elon Musk autobiography, it's quite a unbiased, in my opinion, account of what went off. In fact, in some ways of the autobiography, there are some things that probably would go against Elon. So it's a very good account of what happened. So that's where I've got a lot of my facts from. And then recently on Twitter, there's a nice thread that's come up that I'm going to be using today. Now, before I use this, I want to put up exactly who put the thread up. And I also want to thank him very much for allowing me to use this. Someone did say, but I'm going to see this on YouTube later tonight. Well, you were right. You are seeing it on YouTube tonight because I'm definitely using it as a guide. It's very, very good. It's in chronological order of the facts. So let me try and say this right. Nathnalos. I'm probably saying that so wrong. I'm so sorry. So go follow this guy. He is the person who posted this whole thread. I'm not going to run the whole thread, and I'm also going to use a lot of my own opinion and stuff that I learned through autobiography and the stuff that I know myself. So without further ado, let's find out just who started Tesla. So the argument is, and a lot of people don't know this, some people just think Elon Musk founded Tesla, that's how it was. Well, there is a guy called Martin Eberhard. Martin Eberhard. I always thought there was an N in there, Eberhard. But anyway, so this is where the argument starts between Martin and Elon and who started Tesla. Martin is quite a successful entrepreneur, engineer. Let's run into the facts between these two characters. They have actually been butting heads for a while. But yeah, let's look at the actual straight up facts. So the thread starts in '94 when Elon Musk was doing an internship and he was basically working on some capacitors in the hopes to use them for an EV. So Elon, basically this establishes that in '94, Elon was looking into EVs at this point. He was interested in EVs. And I think that's quite an important thing to state. Elon was interested in EVs, and this is the reason it's important, is because it forms my opinion at the end of this video that Elon was interested in making EVs. So that was in '94. And then Elon went on to Zip2 at a similar time. He went on to create Zip2 with his brother Kimball. Kimball was very involved in that, actually. It was quite a major part of Zip2. And yeah, that's what they were working on at the time. Elon wasn't working on electric cars after that at that point. He was working solely on Zip2 and that project at that time. The internet happens, and for the next few years, Elon is focused on Zip2 and all those kind of things, and he's really focused on getting that off the ground. So that's where his attention goes to, and obviously with the timing of the dot-com boom and all that sort of stuff, that is where he was facing. In '97, AC Propulsion, an American company, start to build the T0, which is an electric car, and I'll put that up now, and you can see that obviously this is a long way away from where we are right now, but this was the early electric sports car, and it was the predecessor to Tesla. Yeah, so this was the early starts. Elon Musk isn't involved. Eberhard isn't involved at this point. This is in '97. So at that time, where is Eberhard? Eberhard is creating an ebook reader, a company called Nuvo Media. Basically, it's an ebook reader, an ebook company, and that is where he's at that point in time. So Elon is working on Zip2, Eberhard is working on an ebook company. So they're both involved in a .com. None of them are physically working on the electric car at this point in time. Then in 99, Elon sells Zip2, earns $22 million, and quite quickly after invests that and starts X.com. So then in 2000, everything kicks off. A company purchases Nouveau Media off Eberhard, and he becomes quite wealthy, earns quite a bit of money. So he is now sitting there in 2000 with a lump sum of cash. At the same time, X.com merges and creates PayPal. It's very complicated. If you read the book, you can go through everything, but basically PayPal is born, which obviously made Elon very wealthy at that point, but he was still involved in PayPal at this time period. Then in 2002, eBay buy PayPal. You might remember this if you're old enough to remember it. And Elon becomes quite wealthy overnight. He earns quite a considerable amount of money, around $165 million, which in personal wealth is quite a lot of money. In terms of what Elon decided to do with it was actually pittance to start what he started. So now in 2003, Eberhard is introduced to the T0 and he decides that he's going to start funding it. So remember this car? Eberhard is now going to start funding it with the money that he's earned from the sale of his ebook company. He's starting to get involved with the company. So in 2003, in April of 2003, Eberhard wants to commercialize the T0, and he comes up with the name Tesla Zero. So here's a big point to Eberhard. The name Tesla was created by him, apparently. And then that name was registered in 2003, and Tesla Motors. What's going on with this film set every time? Right, I'm gonna go get this light sorted out. So yeah, Eberhard develops the name Tesla Motors, and Tesla Motors is kind of formed and created. Okay, so here's where it gets a bit messy. So between 03 and 04, the company itself, Tesla Motors, AC Propulsion, the T0, all of that kinds of falls through. So Eberhard's on board with Tesla Motors, and it's basically said that they're not going to create any more T0s. And there's loads of things that are up in the air, but nothing is being developed at this time, all the way between 03 and 04. At that same time, Elon is hell-bent on starting an electric car company. So he's pushing ahead with trying to design an electric car company. He was talking about using the chassis from certain cars to create an electric car. So then in 04, Eberhard and Elon meet. This is around a year after Tesla Motors was formed. At this point, Tesla Motors didn't have officers, it didn't have a prototype, it didn't have much. In fact, what it had was some contacts and a business plan. So for me, if you've ever started a business, you'll know the first year of starting a business and incorporating can be a lot of nothingness. There can be a lot of faffing about. It can almost, from starting it to this point is kind of, there's not much. And just being honest, there's not much. Ideas are worth a dime a dozen. I don't know what that means, but they're 10 to the penny. Not what that means either. But at this point, not much is going off. Elon agrees to become a founder and become a director on the company and also investor in the company at this point in early 04. So at this point, the company doesn't have much going for itself apart from these people involved in it and a business plan. So then we move forward. It's worth noting at that point, apparently Elon is the fourth employee, if that helps you. So we've got around a year on the company, Tesla Motors, and we've got around 4 employees. I don't know if that helps form your opinion, but it helps form mine. Okay, so also in 04, quite early, Elon moves fast, and this is where I think there's some really key details here. So Series A funding closes, and Elon, it puts into the company 6.35 million, 98% of the Series A funding, and Eberhard puts in $75,000, which is under 1% of the Series A funding, and then the other 1% is made up. So 98% of Series A funding from Elon Musk, 1% from Eberhard. At the same time, with that Series A funding, Elon Musk becomes chairman. So this is not long. We've only had the company for around a year. Elon Musk becomes chairman with 98% invested in the Series A of funding. Now that's quite a big, important piece to the whole picture. At this point, Eberhard still is CEO. It's important, that's worth noting that Eberhard is in charge at this point. The Tesla logo is created and designed, and that was designed by the same person that did the SpaceX logo. So it's worth noting that Elon is making moves at this point. He is starting to make moves. Another point to note is a few months later, Strobel comes on board. I'm not going to get involved with that, but he comes on as the 5th co-founder. I'm only going to be keeping the story between Eberhard and Elon Musk for now, but there's a lot of key points I'm leaving out of this timeline to try and keep it as simple as possible between Elon and Eberhard. In February of 2006, 2 years later, there's a second round of funding. Again, Elon managed to get Valor Investment Partners to the team, and that was up for $13 million, which was obviously huge at the time. So that was a Series B funding. That was huge at the time. Elon's still the largest shareholder in the company. So then in June 2006, Musk leads another round of funding, the Series C, is what they would call it, Series 3, the third investment round. And they raised 40 million this time, which again is massive. And then just after that, they show the Roadster to the public. So in 2007, there's another funding round of $45 million. And then also at this point, Elon starts to raise question about Eberhard's business plan, that the cars are going to cost $65 million to produce. That was for the Roadster. If you've read the book, Elon was absolutely scrupulous of what it was costing to produce these cars. And at this time, this is one of the key things where Elon decided that Eberhard wasn't a great fit for the CEO role. And that was, a lot of it was small things like people would come in and they would produce a part for the car, or they would make a design change to the car. And the calculations of the costs were awful, which ran the costs up of the Roadster considerably. And it's one thing that Elon hammered home as much as possible. We need to get the cost of this car down. It's not economical. And it kind of fell on deaf ears. And Elon told Eberhard that he didn't think that they were going to be able to produce the car for $65,000. And Eberhard reassured him that they would. So at this point, we've got a conflict. We have a conflict between the two. And we are now 3 years into it at this point. So yeah, this is where it starts almost. The battle kind of starts a little bit. So then in June of 2007, one of Tesla's investors does an audit on the production of the car. So that's basically testing how much it's going to cost to produce the car, to see if the numbers match up. It's what an investor does. They want to see if the CEO is telling the truth and that the numbers are going to match when they start selling cars and all that sort of stuff. It's to see if they're going to get their return on investment, basically. And lo and behold, the audit comes back and the Roadster is not going to cost what they say it's going to cost to produce. This is a problem. So then they find out that in this audit that it's going to cost $120,000 to produce the car, which is almost twice what Eberhard had said at the first place. So obviously that is not economical for a business or an investor. So not only that, but the costs start to rise, and it's looking just for materials alone for the car is getting to 140K. And this goes to the point before where Elon was saying to people, we need to be noting this. We need to be marking down how much this costs. Why can't we get these supplied for cheaper? Why can't? And if you read the book, you will see at this time period, Elon was like laser focused on these things. And it fell on deaf ears. So when it came to producing the car, the cost just ran out of control. And this actually stung Tesla quite a bit. It left them on the hook for a lot of things. And yeah, it was a very bad time period for Tesla, and it put them in a really crappy situation. So why is this significant to the story? Well, the board loses confidence in Eberhard, and obviously Elon has a huge role to play in that as the chairman, but they lose confidence in Eberhard and he is asked to step down as CEO. So then he becomes president of technology, And if you know anything about companies, this is kind of just like, we don't want to, you helped found the company, we don't want to fire you, like here's a little role. That's just my opinion, but it's kind of what it is. It's just like, you're okay over here, just do your thing, stay quiet in the corner and let the big boys do the thing. So that's kind of what happened. So does Elon then become CEO? No, there is an interim CEO. I'm not going to talk about who that was, but Elon doesn't become CEO straight away. And I think this is another great point for Elon. I think some people talk about the story as if Elon forced this guy out and then he slotted in his chair. That's not what happened. In fact, Elon didn't want to become CEO. That's just to put that out there. He didn't want to become CEO. So then in November of 07, the board finds out that Eberhard has been supposedly hiding information that would have indicated that the costs were running out of control. Why would he do that? Well, it sounded like he just got himself into a mess. If the car was being produced at a higher cost than it was supposed to be, it makes him look bad as a CEO because he said he could produce the car for $65,000. So he hides this mess. To sort of make himself look good, but obviously this is only going to last for a certain amount of time. The board says if they find out that this is true, you are fired. It's a bad situation. So the board looks into it and they decide that they have to fire Eberhard. And that includes people that Eberhard had appointed himself to the board. And also, obviously, Elon Musk is involved at this point. They thought about filing a suit against him, but they thought the PR would be bad for it. But this indicates at this point that Eberhard was fired from the company because he was doing a bad job. 2008, November of 2008, the Roadster is delivered. So this is where it kind of gets rocky. And then in October of 2008, Elon Musk becomes CEO. He didn't want to become CEO. The situation was so dire at this point, he takes over as CEO. He has to stop being a CEO by laying off 25% of the staff. That's a hard decision to make. It's not one that I think he made lightly, and it's something that he did get a lot of crap for as well. So then Musk leads another round of funding for 40 million, and at this point Elon has $70 million in the company, and they've only delivered just over 100 cars. Kind of crazy that he's still on board, and I think that is another point to make. At this point, Elon is still on board. He's got 70 million sunk into the company. They've only delivered 147 cars. Eberhard had around 75,000 invested at that point. So Elon's in this really deep, and this is coming to my opinion, so bear all this in mind. Apparently Daimler saves the company by investing 70 million in the company, which is around 10% at the time. It was a really, really, really bad time. Tesla surviving was ridiculous. So then Tesla receives a loan in late 09 for 465 million. And I think some people go, well, that's where the story ends. That's not where the story ends, but that was like a huge lifeline to Tesla. Tesla then started developing the Model S. They released that in 13, and then Tesla repaid the 465 million with interest, might we add, with interest. And then from 13, I think everyone knows the story kind of. It still was a very rocky story from 13 to now for Tesla to still exist. So for Elon to hang around through all of that adds to my opinion of who founded Tesla. And I know what you're thinking. You're probably wrong. I know what you're thinking. So just one little thing to note before I round this up is in 2007, Elon put this on tweeted this on Twitter last night. In 2007, when Eberhard provided that false information to the board and Elon, nobody left with him. So when he was fired, nobody left with him. Now, why is that important? When somebody's fired as a CEO, so if Elon Musk was fired as a CEO today, people would make a stand and leave with him. That's how this kind of thing works. People would leave with him. Elon would probably start a new company with these people. Nobody left with Eberhard. Nobody. So let's form the opinion. Who started Tesla? The biggest thing that I want to say is the investment is huge. So Elon had around 70 million invested. Bear in mind that the wealth between Eberhard and Elon right at the start wasn't that different. There wasn't that much between them. Elon had a bit more money by the looks of things, but Elon invested half of his wealth, almost 50% of his wealth into Tesla. Eberhard did not. No way near, in fact. That says a lot. But then not only that, Elon stuck through all the crap as well. He stuck there all the way, well, until now, he stuck through it. And he didn't become CEO straight away. He didn't just jump in his seats like people claim that Eberhard jumped in someone's seats and just threw all the money at it. That's not the case of the situation. So, we've heard all the facts. Here's my opinion on who started Tesla. A company is not just the name. A company is not just the logo. A company is what it is doing. Now, in those early days, Elon showed interest to start an electric car company. He was going to do it no matter what. He would have put half his wealth to an electric car company no matter what. So let's say that Elon directed Tesla 90%. Elon, even though as the chairman, Elon was directing it, the majority of it Elon was directing. So if Elon was at a different company, there would have been the same outcome. Tesla would still exist, but it would have a different name. And this is where I think people struggle. If we're being pedantic, would Tesla exist without Eberhard? No. The name would not exist. But that is all that wouldn't exist, the name. Everything else, a prototype sports car would exist. Elon would have done that. Elon would have done his plan. A company would exist, and we'd probably have Muscular or Elon, or I don't know, probably a cool name. I mean, Tesla's a cool name, but Elon probably would have come up with a cooler name. The Cyberler. But it would exist. That's my point. It would still exist. Eberhard came up with the name, and that is about it. It was a shell of a company when Elon turned up. He then pumped as much money as he could into it and started the company and stuck with it all the way through. He took what was a poor decisions and he highlighted these poor decisions as bad decisions. He helped get rid of a poor CEO. And I don't want to be horrible to Eberhard, but he was out of his depth at that point, and they got rid of him and then put the right person for the job in place, which was himself. It is worth noting at this time, Elon could have quite happily lived a nice life. He could have also put 100% of his wealth into his other company and passion at the time, SpaceX. But he didn't. He split it between the two and then dedicated his life between the two. All of these things form the opinion Tesla would not exist without Elon. The company would not exist without Elon. The company itself would still exist without Eberhard. It just wouldn't be called Tesla. That is it. Wrap that up and that's my opinion right there. Would Tesla exist without Elon? No. In its current form, Tesla would not exist without Elon. If Eberhard had taken Tesla forward, it would not exist without Elon. Would Tesla exist without Eberhard? Yes, it would. It just wouldn't be called Tesla. Zip! Mic drop. It is over. That's my opinion. It's good to get it off my chest. Guys, the book that I have been referencing, I will put in the description. I highly recommend you read it. I know I'm going to get some crap on this video. If we're being pedantic, Tesla, the company, doesn't exist without Eberhard. I understand that. I understand that opinion. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the game-changing EV company that Tesla is today. Would that exist without Elon? No, it does not. It doesn't happen. But it does happen without Eberhard, and it would have happened without Eberhard. It still would have happened. Elon was passionate about making an electric car company. It would have happened. He would have made it happen. But yeah, go read the book. Have a look at the book. I know I'm going to get some crap on this video, but please, if you can, try and read the book beforehand. Go see the thread on Twitter. Thank you for the thread. I'll link that in the description. The guy, Nathan Laws, I don't know how to say, I'm really apologetic about that. Put that up. Also, follow me on Twitter if you want to. Tweet this video. And yes, I did. I know someone said we're going to see this on YouTube tonight. You have now seen it on YouTube tonight. I did use this as a guide, this thread as a guide, and also the information I have and know. I've left out loads of things in the story, and that is just because I want to keep it as simple as possible. But like I say, if you want to see more, go read the thread or read the book, and you'll know more information and you'll get a bigger picture. But for now, that is my opinion. Elon Musk, this whole automotive industry that has now been changed, and we are going to see all these big auto companies absolutely crumble and fall, and Tesla is just rising through the ashes like a phoenix. Could have called it Phoenix, Elon. That would have been a good name for it. Anyway, that's my opinion. We have a lot to thank and a lot to appreciate because of Elon Musk, and that is just the way it is. People say I'm a fanboy or something like that. Like, maybe I am, but that is just the facts of the matter. This is the facts of the matter. The automotive industry has been completely changed by Elon Musk. That's it. Yes, there was people who helped him along the way, but he is a piece that you cannot remove. You cannot remove Elon Musk from that story and still have the company as it stands. I feel like you can take a lot of people out and you would still have an amazing electric car company if Elon's involved in it. Boom! Sorry. Guys, if you're thinking about buying one of these amazing cars that Tesla built, Elon built, and yes, Eberhard helped name, link is in the description for 1,000 free supercharging miles. I do appreciate it, as always. Again, thank you for watching. You have been wonderful. I will see you in the next one. If you enjoyed the video, I'll see you in the next one, I guess. Peace.